Yes, guys, welcome to FPL Insight. We're chasing green arrows. I'm Gianni, the FPL guy, and I'm joined by football insider Dean Jones. Dean, how have you been today?
It's been a busy day, mate, but it's very exciting. There's a lot of games coming up in this game week. 14 matches we got, haven't we? We got the typical weekend, a Monday fixture, and then a bonus Thursday as well to come. Like, lovely stuff.
I love that. I love it. It's a Thursday as well because it gives us like 5 days for most of the players that are doubling play on the Saturday and then Thursday, so we don't
Yeah,
have to worry too much about rotation because it's a nice 5 day rest. I
true.
hope. Yeah, yeah, I hope.
It's hopeful, but yeah, I know what you mean. There are a few players that definitely need that little gap, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, that's from someone that's bought in or probably buying in Reece James. And I'm thinking if it was a Wednesday or Tuesday night fixture, I might think twice. But the fact it's Thursday, that extra day recovery, I think I like it.
Yeah, we'll talk about this later when we get to our teams and stuff, and we're going to talk about injury news too. But Reece James is a massive talking point this week. Like we mentioned this a week or so ago for the first time, and here we are. We're at Reece James time. Should we just get into it and talk about the team news and fresh off the press, mate?
Yeah, I think we should. Let's have a look at our first feature, fresh off the press.
Yeah, so it was that anxious wait today, mate, to find out the team news for the day. And we talked about this on WhatsApp, me and you earlier. Like, you're trying to wait on the teams and stuff. And the clubs you wait for, their presses are always like the last ones of the day. You're getting like early afternoon in the UK, like 1:30ish. And it's a frustrating wait. But yeah, it was worth the wait, I think, wasn't it? And the first player we want to talk about here, Reece James of Chelsea. Like, what are you thinking here, mate? Team news-wise, do we believe in him?
Yeah, I think so. The fact that the signs were positive last weekend when Tuchel said the crazy Tuchel starts Reece James this week. Like he was thinking about starting him for the cup final when he ended up getting 70 minutes because of the extra time. And he looked good in that 70. And then fortunately, he wasn't started against Luton. I think he got 20 minutes at the end. So knowing he was so close to starting a week ago, I think a week on with 2 games behind him and a few days of training, he should be good to go. And I just think if you're buying someone between now and the end of the season, he is by far the standout Chelsea defender. Obviously, if you're buying someone for the double game week alone, if you're on a free hit or whatever, Rudiger, Alonso, even Thiago Silva, these guys are probably more likely to start both games. But long term, you definitely want Reece. And for someone like me that's not got a wild card, I need someone between now and 38.
Mate, this is Chelsea are a completely different side, completely different setup. It's a different dynamic when Reece James is available. It is their best team when Reece James is in it. It changes also the roles of the people further forward. We'll talk about that a bit later on in the show. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the big question, I guess, is the fact that Chelsea now have a double game week. You've been warning us that this was coming. I'm sure it still caught a few people by surprise, but you think he can play both games, yeah?
Yeah, I think he can. And as you say, like Tuchel has missed the wing back so much. And I think he goes back to his preferred formation. Alonso left wing back. He actually had a really good game in the EFL Cup. And then Reece right wing back. We just expect goal involvement. So I was looking at the difference between Rudiger and James. In terms of minutes this season in the Premier League, Rudiger's got almost double James's minutes. In terms of points, I think Reece James is only like 16, 17 points off him.
Oh, wow.
Like the guy is a points machine when he plays. And now he looks fit. Yeah, I'm ready for some Reece James action for sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting. FPL River there saying about really want to go with Reece. Minutes do scare me though. I think you just answered his question there. Like, don't worry too much about that because what he might miss in some of those minutes in these 2 game weeks, but he's just got such good capability in terms of racking up some points when he is on the pitch. And they are 2 lovely fixtures potentially for Chelsea. Look, don't get me wrong, this isn't Chelsea at their best at the moment. Yeah. They're not a full functioning animal. So we'll have to wait and see just what kind of form they can hit. But without doubt, they're better with Reece James. The next guy we've got to talk about, mate, is Ruben Dias at Manchester City. Bad news for them. Looks like he might be out for 6 weeks. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, it's a big one. That's a huge for Man City. And guys, do get your questions in. Suket has said about potential captaincy. We'll talk more about captaincy in just a tad. But Reece James is definitely in consideration. And Nuclear Atom's good to have you with us, still tinkering with his wildcast team. Yeah, aren't many of us with transfers alone. Jerome's thinking Reece James captain. But let's go back to Diaz. I mean, it's a big miss. I mean, we've started talking about the title race back on, which we got to think it is when you look at how strong Liverpool have been and City dropping points. Now with this Diaz injury, the title race is firmly on for me. That's a big loss. You're relying on John Stones and Laporte every single week. And there was a time when Pep didn't want to play those two together. I remember back to the Otamendi days. He always used to play Otamendi with one of them because he thought Stones and Laporte weren't a good combo. There's not a natural leader there. Now, sure, things have changed a little bit since then. Like Laporte's become a bit of a senior player at the club, but there was a time he didn't like playing them together. And I just remember that and think, without Diaz for 6 weeks, tough one.
Yeah, I mean, look, for this first game week, I'm not too concerned, though. I think John Stones has more than enough capability to step into this role and Kyle Walker to take the right back role. John Stones has been up and down in his Man City career. Earlier on in the season, I think talked about quite highly, then dropped off. And recently, Pep's been putting him back in the team, even not in his favourite position. So I do think that John Stones can do a good job here. And also don't think that Man City have that much threat to take out the game against Man United. It's Ronaldo, right? Like Ronaldo's not that hard to mark at the moment. So I think that they can actually deal with that. So we'll wait and see though. We'll talk about that in a bit more depth in a bit. But the final bit of team news we need to address is that Nelson Semedo out for Wolves. Big blow here, mate, isn't it?
He really is. And he's actually been really good of late, Semedo. He didn't start his time at Wolves too well, but that's so reliant on the wing backs. And obviously they've had a few injuries in there, like Marcel got injured and then Aït-Nouri's been in and out. On the right, Johnny, who's arguably first choice when fit on one side, he can play either. So it's a big miss for them. Like the young lad Hoover could come in. He started, I think, last time out. Again, Johnny's back to fitness soon, but they will definitely miss Semedo's energy. And you look at the Wolves' defence, and it was definitely a defence we wanted to invest in. Like they've got the double this week, Palace and Watford, such a nice fixture. They also play in that blank game week 30 where there's only like 4 games. So having a Wolves defender at the moment is you should definitely have an eye on. Now, if that's not Semedo, you've got Semedo. I think a sideways move from Semedo to one of the centre-backs isn't a bad option.
Yeah, I mean, I've took on Max Kilman a couple of weeks back. Obviously, Wolves have had a good record this season in terms of clean sheets, in terms of goals conceded throughout the campaign. Look, last game week didn't go great for Wolves, did it? I mean, we thought they might get more out of that than they did. This is a big blow. And people would undoubtedly be shifting their teams around late doors now to find a fix, eh?
Yeah, I think there will be. And I think Wolves have been unlucky not to keep some clean sheets of late. And I think that's still a defence you want to invest in. Guys in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. Get your questions in. We'll go through a couple of them on screen. Desire is saying he's got Semedo and Diaz. That's hard, mate. I mean, both these guys you need to sell ASAP. And because there's double game weeks, you can sell them for a hit if you're replacing them with a player with playing twice. I don't mind 4-point hits for a double game week player. Is that your? What would you go in that same direction, Dean? Like for me,
yeah,
I
mean, there's no chance these guys playing. There's no point.
Yeah.
These guys aren't playing in the near future. Like if it was just a 1 week layoff, then you can like risk it. But they're out for like you're not seeing either of these guys for a month, like at least. So there's just no point sticking with them for the time being, and especially at a time when a lot of people in your mini leagues, in the main league, will have guys on double game weeks. Like you could really get caught out here. So I think you do take the hit for sure.
Mahmoud, the $1 million question, James or Rudiger? I mean, what's your take, Dean? Because I mentioned earlier, I'm going James because I'm buying someone for the long haul. If you want someone just for the double that's guaranteed to play both games, then Rudiger's a more sensible option. But where would you go there?
Like, I've got Rudiger in my team and I'm happy I've got him. I haven't used my transfer actually this week yet, so we'll talk about it later. But I've been contemplating this Reece James dilemma. If I had to bring in one of those two, I'd bring in Reece James. I would bring in Reece James just because of, well, that factor that always excites you in FPL. Like he might contribute towards goals. Rudiger, he sets off play, he stops play. He's not going to be assisting or scoring unless there's a miracle 30-yarder coming from him. Which, look, it might happen. Rudiger's trying his luck from everywhere throughout this season. He's Chelsea's possibly player of the year, but I think I'd have to go Reece James.
Yeah. I think that's my advice. Also, guys, remember, Azpilicueta still hasn't trained. He very rarely goes off injured, Azpi. I can't remember the last time I saw Azpi leave a football match halfway through, and he did go off injured. He's not trained for a week. So again, they need Reece. CFC Blues is asking about Cancelo. Now, Cancelo doesn't have the benefit of double game weeks. He doesn't have the benefit of playing in game week 30, and loads are looking to sell. But I would err on the side of caution there. Other than Trent, or alongside Trent, these are the two best defenders in the game, arguably two of the players in the game. Selling Cancelo for anyone wouldn't be part of my thinking. He is a long-term hold and someone that can get 10 points on any given game, including United. Like, you expect Cancelo to return, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really a defender, is he? I'm pretty sure in the reverse fixture of the Manchester derby, like, he ran the game. I don't know, maybe I misremember, but like on multiple
14 points. 14 FPL points on that day.
Yeah, I thought he did. And there have been multiple occasions when Cancelo's done it because he doesn't really stick to his position. He's allowed to move around. And when they played against Man United, he was given a lot of license. I'd tread very carefully there for sure.
Yeah, he got 2 assists, spot on. He got the clean sheet, and it's shock. He got 3 bonus points. Like, he's a points magnet. Nuke Rams is asking about Newcastle. Now, these guys are the only team that have the double-doubles. They double in 28, they double in 29. Shah got an assist last time out, and actually has quite a good goal-scoring record. Would you invest in Newcastle defence or attack? Because obviously you've got Willock's getting a bit of love, pocket rocker, wee man Ryan Fraser, and then you've got Target and Shah. Like, who would have thought we'd be talking about these 4 players a couple of weeks back? But the double-double, and they're winning games.
Yeah, they are. I don't know how long that can continue. This is a team that have been in relegation form all season, and while their recent form has been good, it won't carry on forever. Like, Newcastle aren't suddenly like a team that's going to come into Champions League type form. This is a team that at some point it will halt a bit. I don't think I would be going down that street right now.
Yeah, I've not jumped on a Newcastle player, Nuclear Atoms. I mean, this double is nice. They've got Brighton at home. And remember, we love Newcastle at St James's Park when things are going well. But then the next 3 after that, so both doubles in 29 and Southampton in the second game in 28, they're 3 away games. So again, I don't love Newcastle away from home. Thank you guys for your questions. Guys, I hope you're liking and subscribing to the channel. If you're watching, give us a thumbs up, because if you give us a thumbs up, more people are likely to join the chat and engage and watch these shows. And we want to spread the word. Like, we're here every Monday, every Friday at 7 p.m, occasionally a couple of minutes past 7. And yeah, we want you joining us every Monday and Friday for the review and the preview each week. And we've got one of our best features coming up next. And I think you guys are hopefully going to tap into Dean's knowledge on this one, because we've got a little bit of Pep Roulette. Best part of the show for me, Dean. I love
Scariest part of the show, mate. Scariest part of the show.
I love hearing your 11s, because they're usually so accurate, unless we get those freak like call-ups where, I don't know, Jurgen Klopp goes and changes both fullbacks out of nowhere. That happened a couple of weeks back. But other than that, you're pretty bang on.
Yeah, look, I get some insight into these things. I know people that are pretty close to the clubs, or I'll speak to journalists that's tuned in to what they think will happen. And look, I don't know anyone that consistently gets every single name right, because managers aren't going to do that. So they're not going to let you know their exact 11. But I get clues and I try and put the pieces together and identify an 11 that we hope will get as close as possible. So where are we going to start, mate? Which team are we going for?
Yeah, I think we're going to start with the big one. We're going to start with Man City. Like we usually start with City. Let's carry on City this time round, because they're usually the hardest to predict. Although maybe a little bit easier this week. I don't know.
Well, I thought it was going to be reasonably straightforward, to be honest. But I was trying to figure it out, and then I spoke to someone, and they said to me, "I get the feeling Pep's going to do something a bit weird this weekend." And I was like, Don't say that. Don't say that. I mean, we've already got Diaz out of the team, so we're already having to tinker with the defence. But I think we know how that's going to pan out there. You can see him scrolling across the bottom now. In midfield, I think they've missed Bernardo Silva in the middle. I don't like it now when he moves forward. Like, I think that they need him in there. I think Rodri needs him in there. So I think Bernardo drops deeper. I've put KDB in there. We'll talk about it in a second. Up front, I've gone Mahrez. Surely Mahrez is starting this game. I can't believe he didn't start the last one. Sterling and Foden. Now, this might not be right, because what I'm concerned about is that this Pep trick, I think he might go someone else at false 9 or 9.
Could he go KDB at 9 and Foden in the midfield 3 like he did in the week again in the FA Cup?
I think it could be. I think it could be De Bruyne at 9. Maybe it's Gundogan. Maybe he plays that role. Maybe Sterling goes in there. Raheem Sterling does not have a good goal scoring record against Man United. I'm not sure he's scored against Man United, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Raheem Sterling does not do well against Man United in terms of goals. Maybe he just takes him out of that and just uses him as somebody that moves people around. Gabby Jesus is fit again. Maybe he goes back in there. I've just got a feeling that that's the area of the field where we might get a surprise here. I'm not sure who's going to be playing through the middle, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he just made a little switch here that really confused Man United.
We saw last season a lot in the Champions League where KDB went some of those big away days as false nine and it worked well. We've not seen it too much this season. Obviously, the Bernardo Silva in that role hasn't worked too well in recent weeks. I was just so surprised in the cup game against Peterborough in the week to see, and I was really pleased to see it. We saw Foden playing in a midfield three and he played in the KDB role and he got both assists. He looked good.
Did.
The new David Silva. That's what everyone used to call him 2 years ago. Well, finally he played in the David Silva role.
He was groomed to play that role. Like that was the whole idea of him being mentored by him for so long. But look, the other thing that confused me is the fact that Foden did play another 90. Foden's just played that 90 against Peterborough. So maybe I'm like, maybe Foden's not playing. And quite often he does play that false nine. So maybe he's coming out and it is De Bruyne or Gundogan going up front with Sterling and Mahrez. I think there's a surprise coming here. Look, I've put this 11 together because I think it's the one that, in a prediction, makes the most sense for us.
Yeah.
But watch out because I think there might be something special coming from Pep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think you're getting, by minimum, you're getting 10 names. You could get all 11. It might just be that the formation tweaks and the personnel stays the same. Interesting stuff. Okay, let's move on to Liverpool, shall we? So they've got one or two out. I think Matip is the big name that's absent, and Firmino as well.
Yeah, so Matip obviously would have been in the Liverpool side, but they're lucky now. Liverpool, they've got such depth. Losing somebody like that doesn't matter so much. Like Konate, unlucky not to be in this team every single week, to be honest, because when he comes in, he's brilliant. So colossal partnership for Liverpool there, Konate and Van Dijk. Midfield, I've gone Henderson, Fabinho and Keita. Obviously, that wouldn't have been my first choice. Thiago now injured. Curtis Jones has been a slight doubt for this game. I was going to put Curtis Jones in, but there is a nagging problem that he's got. I think it was his groin. So I've just gone with Keita for now because I think it makes most sense. And up front, I've gone Diaz over Diogo Jota, partly because Jota played in midweek, partly because I think Diaz is undroppable right now. I don't think you can leave him out.
He's been so good, hasn't he? He's so good. I'm really interested to see this Liverpool front three, if it is those three or if Jota comes in. But guys in the chat, let us know your Liverpool front three. We want 3 names from you. Let's run a little poll almost and count up who we're thinking. Do you think like Klopp reverts back to the trusted front three this season where Jota's the number 9? Or does he go Mane 9, which has worked in recent weeks, and Diaz on the left? I mean, Dean, you're thinking Diaz is almost undroppable. And did he? I can't remember if Diaz started in the week. I feel like he got a rest as well.
Yeah, he got a rest. Yeah, he was on the bench. Yeah, so he's come in, and that's what makes me think. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that he's going to put him in for this one, and I think he's right to do that because the guy is so confident right now. He's loving his role. I don't think that it's disrespectful to leave Jota out at the moment. I think you can do that without upsetting him too much. In a couple of weeks' time, I think you've got a real dilemma making that decision. Yeah. But right now, I think Jota will be like, okay, fair enough. But just make sure I get a run out. The big question, I guess, is, does Mane then go through the middle? Does Diaz play that central role? I'm not sure which way round they'll flip that. But yeah, let's just look at the comments here. Salah, Mane, Diaz, FPL River agrees all day long. Zara agrees too, says Jota for the Inter game. And that's what we were talking about before, remember? Before the injury struck, I said, I think that Jota will be the preferred choice in the Champions League. And it might bring a problem in terms of FPL. And it hasn't really brought a problem for us because we kind of are expecting it now, which is we weren't expecting when we first began discussing this. Luke expects Diaz to start. So does Nuclear Atoms. SK says Jota back to last season, super sub, 6-pointer machine. And that's the thing. Like, I have actually got Jota in my team. And I'm not going to take him out.
No, not ahead of a double as well.
No.
got a double in 29. And you're right, like great comment in the chat there, because he can perform that kind of first sub role so well. Like, you give Jota 30 minutes against a more tired defence, and he always looks like dynamite. I remember even at Wolves off the bench at times, which was crazy to think he wasn't always a starter at Wolves, but he genuinely wasn't always under Nuno. And he often did so well off the bench. Jamie Grace, good to see you in the chat, Jamie. He agrees with you as well, Dean. He said thinks Jota comes in for that Brighton one, maybe.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes
and
sense,
Desira's saying Klopp said Keita might be a doubt. Yeah. There's a few in that midfield at the moment with, I think,
was a lot of
Curtis
doubts.
Jones out and Thiago's obviously out.
Thiago's out.
Yeah.
Jones was a doubt. Keita said he was a doubt. So look, we don't really know. I mean, well, what are going to play Oxlade-Chamberlain? I mean, it's probably the weakest option they've got if he plays. Like, as much as I love Ox, generally, like, don't feel like he's one of Liverpool's strongest options right now. Harvey Elliott, maybe he gets a run out. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that's going to be the unknown factor in this team.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, before we move on to our next and final team of the Pep Roulette feature, guys, just want to encourage you to please do like this channel. I know there's loads of you watching that perhaps haven't given it a like yet. You just click that thumbs up button. And if you're not already, of course, then subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out with those likes. So thank you guys for doing that. I'm sure you're all just about to. We've looked at City. We've looked at Liverpool. The other big team playing this weekend is my team, Chelsea. How are we thinking they're lining up, Dean?
Oh, this was a tough one too. I mean, obviously, we've talked about it already. Reece James is back. So that helps us a little bit. What didn't help me out was I initially thought, right, well, that means Azpilicueta goes back into the back three and blah, blah. And it's like, oh, Azpilicueta's not going to be playing. It's like, oh, okay. Is Chalobah back? And it looks like he is. Looks like Chalobah is going to be okay for this game. So that kind of solved that problem for me. So, yeah, I think we're looking at a back three of Chalobah playing alongside Thiago and Rudiger. And then you have James and Alonso as the wing backs. And then this is where it gets a bit tricky for me. And this is where, like, looking at the next five, the final five pieces that make Chelsea tick going forward. And I found it tough, I've got to admit. I've gone for Kante, Mount and Kovacic, Havertz and Lukaku. The thing is, this is my dilemma. I was like, does he really play Lukaku against Burnley? Like, on one hand, they're one of the worst teams in the league. On the other hand, it's all about physicality, and I feel like they might love playing against Lukaku, and he won't get much joy. But I think, like, he's got to start playing him again. Got to get some confidence out of him. And I feel like having Havertz and Lukaku playing together, Mount bouncing off them. I think Kante and Kovacic is the best partnership that lies a bit deeper. I just feel that this might be a way to get everybody ticking and keep everybody happy. And it should be a reasonably safe game to play this. What do you reckon?
Oh, mate, I'm usually so big on your decisions. Like, I'm always like, yeah, he's absolutely nailed that.
No, I don't want you to always think it.
Chalobah's a great call. Like, he had like 6 stitches, by the way, Chalobah, in a not too nice area. Poor bloke. How that wasn't a red. But the Lukaku shout, I'm not with you on this one, dude. Guys in the chat, let us know if you think Lukaku is starting. I want a simple yes or no from you. Just want to, again, total it up. Will Lukaku start away at Turf Moor tomorrow? Yes or no? I think it's a big fat no, and that's because I think Havertz has been so good as the number 9. It's been nice to see Lukaku getting some goals, not necessarily always starting, but I think he scored 3 goals in his last 4 games, knowing he scored in the Club World Cup as well. But yeah, I think it'll be Havertz with Mount and maybe Pulisic behind.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was the other option I was obviously pondering is Pulisic, but it just depends how he figures out that time. And the reason I've changed it is, like, I don't think it's your typical front three anymore. Reece James is there.
Yeah,
so, like,
true.
Reece James is now introducing that forward running, and that's just what we talked about with Ziyech. Now, Ziyech is a knock, I think, isn't he? I don't think he's likely to play in this game. Yeah. I don't know if he would be anyway, because, like, it changes the whole system of Chelsea when Reece James is there. So I feel like Chelsea are going to play a bit more inside, and because of that, I can just see an opportunity to try out Mount, Havertz and Lukaku. It's just a feeling that I've got around this one.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we should add is Lukaku defending set pieces is really valuable to Chelsea. And Burnley aren't quite the physical team we've perhaps seen in the past, but you always think at Turf Moor, and we've got this, whether it's accurate or not, I don't know, but we've got this thing in our heads that at Turf Moor, Burnley, set pieces, always a real threat. Sean Dyche team. And Lukaku's really useful defending those set pieces. McNeil, Brownhill, brilliant delivery from corners and free kicks. And you just think the likes of me getting on the end of headers, having Lukaku could be seen as valuable. But I just think Havertz as the 9 gets the nod. But if Havertz doesn't play as the 9, guys, he does play as one of the 10. So he's a good FPL option.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Neil Cheeseman, they're saying like James crossing, Lukaku scoring. I mean, he has neither, so I'm sorry about that. But like, I can see that. You got Reece James back in the team. Like, you're getting deliveries now. This is what Lukaku wants. He wants the ball fed to him in different areas. And, I think when he came on the other day in the final, he seemed a bit more encouraged by the way the team played. They definitely adapted their style a bit differently when Lukaku was there, as opposed to when they play with Havertz as the focal point.
Yeah.
I've just got a feeling.
Fair play. He took his goal well, Lukaku. Again, not a big fan of that VAR call, but, I'm not sour after last Sunday at all. Good stuff, guys. Thank you all. I mean, looking at the chat, it seems like majority is saying no, but there's a few yeses in there as well. So who knows? Me is out. Of course he is, Neil. Good call. And I think Tarkowski might even be flagged as well. I'm not too sure about that one.
Well, if they're out, I would be playing Lukaku. He might have a field though.
Yeah, exactly. They've not got a great amount of depth there, Burnley. Just checking the FPL website. So, Tarkowski's not flagged at the moment, but I think he was earlier in the week. And me is, of course, out. Is Mendy a safe option before we move on to our next feature, Dean? Is Mendy a safe option to get points from Chelsea? He's safe, but we just prefer Chelsea defence for the upside, I guess.
I think so. I'm weighing this up. I think Burnley could score. I actually do.
My boy Veggie.
Yeah, well, you're hoping so, right? I presume you've stuck with him.
But I think he'll be on my bench.
Yeah. I've just got a feeling that Burnley do score. And that's another thing, going back to earlier on when we were talking about Rudiger or James. If Burnley do score, that's Rudiger pretty much done. Whereas James has still got that outlet that can get you points. And that's still why I would favour, if you can, bring in James instead of Rudiger.
Yeah, exactly that. Good stuff, guys. Thank you very much for all your questions. FPL River saying Mendy is as safe as 100% nailed. Yeah, he absolutely is, or feels it. But let's move on to our next feature. But before we do, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, guys, but we just need a few more likes out of you, because there's around half the amount of likes from the people watching. So come on, hit the like button.
Job. You won't be able to watch this soon.
Exactly that. Friday night treat and all that. Give us a like. The next feature is this is gonna cause some disruption in the chat, I'm sure, because we might be advising on some unpopular moves in what is a feature called Against the Obvious. I'm going to give you 30 seconds and hear me out, guys, as to why you shouldn't captain Mr. Popular, Mr. FPL legend, best player the game has ever seen in Mo Salah. And the reason you shouldn't captain Mo Salah is very simple. This isn't about Liverpool, and this isn't about Salah. This is about double game weeks. My favourite thing in FPL are double game weeks. So why, when we get them, do we captain a single game week player? Yeah, sure, we've been stung by Dennis and we've been stung by Weghorst. And I'm not saying we go back to these budget players from lower half teams again. But this week, we've got some really good options. We've got the likes of Chelsea playing a really nice double. Great captaincy options. We've got informed players like Broja. We've got the excitement of Rafinha with a new manager. Nice doubles for Southampton, Leeds, Chelsea. But still, I'm seeing so many captain Salah. I think his effective ownership will be over 100%, which means if you don't captain him, effectively you are losing points. You don't want him to score goals if you own him and you've not captained him, if his effective ownership is over 100. And he could reach that this weekend, as he does most weekends. But for me, this isn't the one. West Ham don't concede many either. How often do West Ham concede a couple of goals? I know they just did in the Cup, but that was a bit different. In the Premier League, they've been conceding singles. So for me, you look away from Mo Salah and you captain someone with a double game week. Go for the high upside. Go for the 180 minutes. Am I a madman, Dean?
You're very, very brave, mate. You're very brave. And I want to see if you talk me around, because at the moment, as we'll see in a minute, I've got Salah as my captain. I just think it's so scary to go into a game week without him. Like, he's not in amazing form. He's not. Like, in terms of goal scoring form, he's not in anywhere close to like the best form he's been in recent seasons. But it can quickly turn, and it could be that Liverpool beat West Ham 2-0. He gets both goals. He gets the bonus points. And that's that. That's the problem. And then even with people with double game weeks, still not going to, you still got to score 2 goals over 2 matches. And there's not that many people in this league that are capable of doing that. That's the thing with Salah. And, look, it's a brave one, but I understand where you're coming from. I'm not quite as brave, but I have got a big call.
I look forward to seeing your captain later in the show. And we got some good comments. Luke saying, who are you convincing, Gianni? And guys, this is a feature each week where we pick, we each pick a player and tell you not to go there or give you an unpopular opinion. And it's always around a player that's really popular, a template player. It might be that we're telling you to bin off Cancelo or not captain Salah, but they'll sometimes be controversial. We don't expect you all to agree with them. And I loved Ali Mack saying the first rule about not captaining Salah is you don't talk about not captaining Salah. Fair play, Ali. And moving on, we've got some other great comments coming in and really interesting to get your take here, guys. So do let us know what you're thinking with those comments. We've got Desirers saying, with Salah's record against West Ham, should we still choose a double game week player? I do remember that goal we scored against West Ham at the London Stadium last season, which was that long ball over, and Liverpool were really struggling, and he just took it so well, the touch to finish.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit concerned about West Ham right now. It's kind of make or break for them. We've reached that point of the season where they are chasing their tails a little bit, and they need to really shut up shop, and they need to pull off almost a shock result here to make sure that they're still in that race. And I've just got no confidence in them stopping Salah. I'm sorry.
Oh, Monday show at 7, guys. You might see me crying that I didn't captain Salah yet again. I didn't triple captain him a few weeks ago when I should have. Dean, who are you going for this week? I genuinely don't know who your against the obvious pick is.
Okay, so I've noticed quite a few people talking about the idea of captaining Coutinho, but I think this is one to avoid.
Nice.
I understand why you'd be tempted, but let's look at his last 3. 2 points against Newcastle, 2 points against Watford, 3 points against Brighton. Coutinho is going to have moments this season. We just don't know when they're going to come. Now he's got Southampton. Next, one of the most informed teams in the league. And I know they leak goals generally, especially away from home. But in the last 4 matches, they've only conceded twice. And they actually look like a really good unit right now. Then they've got Leeds. Look, I know Leeds have been absolutely disastrous, but they're going to be harder to beat now. They'll close off a lot of the spaces that have been open for them. If I'm guessing Jesse Marsh correctly here, I think that they're going to be, they're just going to want to shut up shop for a bit, aren't they? And keep as close as they can to clean sheets. So there's just not going to be that joy you're getting anymore. This is not going to be the Leeds that conceded 20 goals in 5 matches. Now, Coutinho might get a goal and an assist in this game week. I don't see him getting big points in both games, and therefore I'm not sure it's worth making him captain. If you're happy with that and still willing to back him to come up with an extra moment of magic that's going to get you those extra points, then fine. That's fine. That's your gamble. But just be warned that these 2 fixtures aren't quite as easy as they might look on paper.
Yeah, I don't mind the owning Coutinho thing this week. I think if you're on a free hit or you're looking for double coverage with blank game week 30 coverage, he's a good option. He's potentially a good transfer in, but I am surprised the amount of people that are giving him the armband. He seems to be quite popular, and I think we're forgetting he's not in a very well functioning Liverpool team right now. This is a Coutinho in a Villa team that have looked a bit shot shy. They've looked a bit goal shy. I was encouraged last time out against Brighton to see Gerrard changes that front 3. He went with Ings and Watkins, and that might benefit Coutinho playing as the sole number 10. Buendia was benched. So Buendia for Ings at the slight tweak there. But
they're
again,
unpredictable, aren't they? Do you want to captain someone who's playing in an unpredictable team and is not even in consistently good form himself? He's done. Look, don't get me wrong. He's a good signing for Aston Villa, and Steven Gerrard loves him and wants to keep him. I totally understand that. Of course you would, but he is all about moments, and at the moment, he is due one. I think so. There might be one big goal coming from him. I just think as a captain, you would probably still be better off going with Salah. You'd have more faith in Salah delivering in 1 game against West Ham, I think, than him delivering over these 2 games.
Yeah, that would be a tough one. I think I'd have to toss a coin for that one. I'm not sure. I've said don't go Salah for a Broja, for a Rafinha, for a Chelsea player. I don't know if I would for Coutinho or not. That's a tough one. Nuclear Atoms has asked about Ramsey. Probably the best or second best sort of budget midfielder in the game alongside Anthony Gordon. Can you cover Coutinho that way? Arguably, yes. I mean, Ramsey, yes, sure, he doesn't have that set piece threat, but in terms of runs into the box and open play goals, I think Ramsey's just as likely to score as Coutinho at the moment. And if Ramsey was 7.4, Coutinho 4.8, that would be closer to what I see, says Ali Mack. Ali, you've added some good comments tonight. Thank you.
Ali's on fire.
Final question from Surav, perhaps before we might move on to our final feature, which is our teams, guys. And we've got some treats for you this week. So stay with us. Surav Dutta has asked, Livramento or Target if you're on a bench boost? Livramento at Southampton has a nice double, I think. He plays Aston Villa and Newcastle versus Target, who plays Southampton and Leeds. I don't know if Target keeps a clean sheet. I think Southampton and Leeds both score. Therefore, I'd go Livramento.
Yeah, I'll go Livramento anyway. I just prefer the Southampton team. I just have more faith in Livramento. I was speaking to someone today, actually, and I'm trying to find out whether Target is actually going to join Newcastle full term. And they're like, they're not sure yet. They're not totally convinced. They're happy with him for sure, but they're not convinced yet that he's the guy that they need. So I'll be going Livramento, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Okay, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about the Chasing Green Arrows channel. Now, you guys have been watching, I'm guessing, for maybe a few weeks or a few months, and you're hopefully seeing this channel grow, which we're really proud of. But we want to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we think we can do it, hopefully, in the next few months, if not weeks. But to get there, we do need your help. Now, from all the people watching, I'm sure many of you already have subscribed and perhaps liked the show tonight. But if you haven't, please do subscribe if you like this sort of stuff, because every Monday and Friday we're here with the show at 7 p.m. and we want you on the journey with us. So thank you, guys. But moving on to what hopefully many of you have been waiting for, because I've spent so many hours on this team this week. So next up, we've got our team reveals. First up with your team, Dean. I know straight away you've got one transfer still to make based on this team, right?
Yeah, I've got a transfer. I don't know if I'm going to use it yet. Like I'm kind of tempted not to and let it run, but I'm tempted by that Reece James. I still don't know who I would swap him out for though. Like I'm not sure. I haven't got enough to get rid of Roberts and get him. So, a bit of a dilemma there. But look, generally I'm pretty happy with what I'm looking at. There's a lot of double game weeks there. Obviously, Chelsea, the two Chelsea players that you see, actually do have double game weeks. So like there's most of the guys here playing 2 matches, all with point potential. Yeah, thanks. I do need a helping hand. I had an absolute shocker last week. Wasn't unexpected. I had 9 players and at least 3 of them did not deliver any points. So it was a terrible game week. But this week I'm much more confident. I think I'll get 80 this week.
Yeah, I think I could see a big score. I mean,
I can see an 80.
Captaincy's important though. You set on Salah because I mean you've been stung by Broja, but I think Broja is a fantastic option this week. Knowing he got 45 minutes in the cup where he got a goal and an assist, and I think he can get at that Villa and that Newcastle backline. I think that are 2 good defenses for Broja to be playing against.
I don't know if I can trust that guy anymore. I really don't. Like, he's scaring me. I know Salah's going to score. I know he is. He's going to get at least 1. And if Broja goes through those 2 games without scoring a goal, I'll be so annoyed. I'll drive to Southampton and find him. Tell him what I think of him. But yes, nuclear atom. I did finally get rid of Patterson. Even got subbed against Boreham Wood, didn't he? So I think that was probably the final straw for him. But yeah, look. So if I don't go Salah, where am I going? That's my dilemma. Am I going to a defender? Am I looking at... Look, Kilman's got Crystal Palace and Watford both at home. Like that's actually
nice fixtures.
It's not a bad option that they could potentially keep 2 clean sheets. Rudiger, I've already talked about. I think Burnley will probably score against Chelsea. Like we talked about, Reece James. If I bought in Reece James, I'd probably make him captain, to be honest.
Yeah, the upside is there with Reece.
Yeah, so that is an option. So yeah, there is still a dilemma for me tonight. At the moment, yeah, I've got Bowen on the bench, which doesn't happen very often, but I think Liverpool away is a good opportunity to leave him there. Just hope Mason Mount plays. I mean, this isn't great form he's been in. I've predicted him to be in my starting lineup. I think he will, but I'd like to see him start delivering again now. Again, Jota, a bit of a gamble, but I think he'll figure at some point, and if he does, I think he's got potential for points.
Yeah, I think your selection's right. I don't think you necessarily do need a transfer. Like, I could see rolling for next week ahead of a double. It could be beneficial, knowing you've got that blank game week 30, and you haven't got a free hit to play. So maybe you need to cover yourself for game week 30, which give you an extra transfer to do that.
That's it. My bad planning means that I have to be a bit careful. El Yunusi, a doubt. No, I saw he is flagged as a doubt, but I think he's okay. From what I can tell, I think he's more likely to play than not. So I'm willing to take the gamble on that, seeing as he's potentially playing against Aston Villa and Newcastle. And I really like the style of his performances, and I think that he might be in for a points haul at some point. So maybe I'll go with Brozier. I don't know.
El Yunusi doesn't like scoring every week as well. You've been unlucky there. Desira's asking about DCL out for maybe Jimenez, but I mean DCL's got a double next week where he'll more than likely be fit. And
Jimenez doesn't score goals.
Doesn't score goals, and he even got dropped/rotated last time out. So I think you stick with DCL there.
Yeah, Wolves struggle for goals. Jimenez, the only thing that's going for him is that he's got Fabio Silva challenging him, and he's literally never scored a goal. So that's the reason he still gets in that.
How did Wolves get 35 million for Fabio? I mean, well, we probably know why with the agents at Wolves, but
yeah, that's true.
Luke's not sure about Mount. I mean, what we probably didn't want to see for Mason Mount was coming back off his injury, starting in the EFL Cup, and then playing, I think, 90 against Luton because he had to. I think ideally he would have played 60 against Luton, but he was needed for the full game. Does that concern you at all? I mean, he is one of the first names on the team sheet, Mason Mount.
He is, and they're playing Burnley. If he doesn't play, who's playing instead of Mason Mount in this fixture?
Yeah.
Like, I can't see him playing Kante, Jorginho, and Kovacic. Like, I don't see that happening. Like, ZX is a doubt. Werner, I don't think starts a game like this. I don't see any options really. So I think that Mason Mount. I know he missed some chances and stuff recently, but sometimes managers like it that players are still getting in those areas and at least are there to miss them. So
yeah,
just hoping the tide turns. We have some luck.
FPL River's got a good suggestion, but I only like it to a degree, because Bowen for Rafinha is a great move because Rafinha has the better game week 30 fixture and Rafinha is a double this week. However, who are you benching if you make that move? And I just feel like sometimes we make transfers for the sake of it, and then you've got you give yourself a benching headache further down the line. So you'd have to bench Dennis, and I don't think you want to do that.
Well, I could bench Jota, I guess. I guess I could bench Jota. Like, if I'm predicting that he's not going to start the game, then
true.
And I was bringing in Rafinha. Then I guess FPL River, that is actually a good option that I haven't considered. And if Rafinha is going to play up top, which a lot of people are predicting for Leeds now, he's certainly going to get more game time than he has been under Bielsa recently. Could pray that at least Leeds get some sort of bounce back. It's definitely something for me to consider. Thanks for that.
Neil's made a good point about, well, I say good point. He's made a prediction based on Chelsea's starting lineup, and he's gone Pulisic, Lukaku, and Havertz as the front three. If that's the front three without Mason Mount, and they are the three players that start for Chelsea at Turf Moor on Saturday, I will wear a United shirt on Monday. I can't see it, Neil, but
I can't
stay
see
tuned.
it either.
Good stuff, guys. Should we check out my team?
I can't wait to show you my team. Yeah, let's look at the master. See what he's got up his sleeve.
I'd usually say hours, mate, but I think the amount of hours I put in this week, it probably turns into days.
Are you serious?
It's ridiculous. It's a real problem. Like, it's an addiction.
Mate, it is a very, very, very strong team.
Honestly, I don't know if I can show my spreadsheet, but if I bring my laptop, you can probably just get a glimpse. Like, the amount of planning I've done, like the other different teams, like it's quite ridiculous. And they're all highlighted for doubles and stuff. Like, this spreadsheet just goes on.
I think that's more work than I've done all year and like all my jobs as well as FPL, mate. So that is a lot of time you're invested in that. But it seems worth it now. I'm looking at your team because
it's looking good. So I've made 2 transfers this week, and it's Rafinha in and Foden has gone, and then it's Reece James in. And guys in the chat, I'm just making sure you can hear me. I think you probably can. Got a slight internet issue, but I think it might be with Dean, or perhaps it is with me. It is Dean. Good. Okay. So Reece James, he comes in, and I know it's risky because he might not play 2, but I want him for between now and the end of the season. Rafinha comes in as well. Foden goes. And then For Reece James, I'm selling Ben Mee. So it's a nice 2 transfers. I could have gone for the 4-point hit. But if I'd done that, it would have been perhaps selling Elise. And I just look at it and go, I don't need to do that because I give myself a benching headache. There isn't one player in that 11 I'm overly comfortable benching this week. Like, it could have been Saka, but I just like Saka against Watford. So yeah, it's looking good. I got the doublers. I've seen a few selling and benching Cancelo, not something I'd advise this week. At the moment, I've got captaincy on Breuer. And did you see Breuer did an interview this week saying the pronunciation is Breuer, but then again,
oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he went on another channel and said Brozier, like apparently a couple of weeks ago. So who knows?
Okay. Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed there, but I did literally freeze. It was, not sure if it was the Wi-Fi or I was just in shock at looking at your lineup, but yeah, it was timely, that's for sure.
Well, we had some good suggestions with your team, so I'm hoping we get the same. Like,
what do they suggest? That you try and make it worse? I'm not sure what we can suggest here.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I do have a transfer. I think my money in the bank is slightly higher than that as well. I'm just going to double check so you can advise. Yeah, I've got 1.6 in the bank, but 0 transfers.
Days.
So there is an upgrade in there. Like, Elise could become Havertz. I've got the money for Elise to Havertz.
That's insane.
But then who do I bench if I do that? It'd be a 4-point hit and I'd be benching Saka. I don't really want to do that.
Well, it is a double game week and Havertz is going to play both.
Yeah, but then
what's the next week after that?
Yeah, Saka doubles, but then I don't have...
Saka makes it up the week after that, so it's not really worth it. So, I mean, look, Saka is Arsenal's best player, isn't he? So, it's fine. I think if you were to weigh up Saka or Havertz, like over the next few weeks, they're probably going to come out of it pretty similarly, I'd guess. So I don't think there's too much of a decision to make there. It's unbelievable, mate, that you've got that much money in the bank and that is your team. What's your team value?
Yeah, the team value is pretty healthy, I think. I can't remember. I don't even have to quickly check. I've forgotten how to quickly look.
Like 125 million or something.
Yeah.
I definitely made a few mil this season anyway, that's for sure. You've definitely made a few. Even your bench is strong, isn't it? I mean, I know what you're saying, you could upgrade Elise, but also he's playing really well. So I don't know that you need to, just for the sake of having a better name in there.
Yeah, I know. I think next week with a heavy heart, I might have to sell Elise, and that's only because Palace don't have doubles, and I want another doubler. And Kulusevski is 6 million, and I just think that, especially if he does well against Everton, Kulusevski, it might not be able to cover Son, but it can go halfway there, and he's shooting more than Son at the moment statistically. So I think Kulusevski, knowing he plays in the blank and twice next week, will come in for Elise. Desirous is about Elise to Maddison, and yeah, that's again not a bad option. Like Leicester, remember, are owed so many fixtures. Like Leicester will get lots of doubles for a long-term hold. Maddison's not a bad shout, but I've got plans to go big on doubles immediately, and until Maddison has them scheduled, I'm not looking to jump on Leicester. Although I like game week 30. Leicester do have Brentford. They're probably the standout team for that game week 30 to jump on. If you can get to a Maddison or Vardy in game week 30, I think you'll be in a great position. I might end up having to sell, I don't know, a Bowen who plays in 30 for a Maddison that also plays in 30, for example.
Yeah, look, the fact that you've got this lineup and Brozier is your captain and I've got Brozier means I should probably seriously give this some thought tonight.
I might change to Rafinha. I'm just trying to look at the opposition and go, do I like Brozier against Villa and Newcastle? Or do I like Rafinha and we have no idea where he's going to play? Will it be a 4-2-2-2? And if so, is Rafinha considered one of the front two or one of the two behind?
Yeah.
A hard one to call.
I think up top. I think he will be. I think it'll be him and Rodrigo. Like, that would be my guess. So, look, whenever Leeds have needed results, it's him that's delivered them. Like, even at times this season when they haven't been good, Rafinha has come through and has dug them out of holes. So he's the only Leeds player you really want, and you've got him. Might be worth utilising him.
I'm going to make a call, I think, in the morning on that one. I'm going to sleep on it. And if I had Havertz, I do think, and Sensor makes a great comment, which I still have sleepless nights about. I've spoken about my addiction already. Well, it does keep me up at night. Because remember the last time I captained Havertz? Yeah, Salah got 24 points. So I missed out on 24 free points when the only player in that Chelsea 11, as Chelsea put 7 past Norwich, the only player in the whole 11 that blanked was Kai Havertz, who played number 9 that day. Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
I feel like he owes me. But I can't go back there. And sometimes we need to remember, don't we? Like, they don't care what you did. Like, that can't come part of your thinking that one player's done well or one player's done badly for you.
Well, a big week ahead, mate. It's a very big week ahead. And, well, I was confident about mine until I saw your team, but I guess we're not in the same ballpark at the moment. I'm playing with the kids down in about, I don't even know whereabouts I am in the overall ranking. I can't even bear to look. Replace Gabriel with James. Is it a waste of a transfer? No,
Gabriel, I think I'd go James. I mean,
yeah, I think I would.
Arsenal do double next week, but it's not the best double. It's a double where I can see them conceding goals. So I think I'd go Reece.
I think James is a much better. Like, if you're going to stick with this for the rest of the season, like James is going to be your guy as long as he doesn't get injured again, right?
Yeah, if it's long term. Although Arsenal do play in 30 and Chelsea don't. So
that's true. Yeah. Depends what your variations are. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot are free hitting in that game week 30, that blank. Ayman says, Coutinho or Mount? An easy one for me. You go for the team that looks more like scoring, and that's Chelsea.
Absolutely. Yeah, Luke says, Dean can't wait until next season. My favourite part of FPL is before game week 1. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Luke. And I will be looking forward to that more than ever. When this season is done, I will be deleting the app for 3 months and just pretending I've never played it before when I download it again in August.
Let's go to lose as our last question on that note. And I'm with you. The summer breaks are nice. Even I enjoy them. Tierney or Kilman if you're looking to bench boost in 29 and you're not free hitting in 30. So if you're not free hitting in 30, well, both those guys are playing. So similar. I probably prefer the Wolves defence, I just think Wolves certainly this week, they've got Palace and Watford. I think I'd go for this week. And then, because the Arsenal double next week, I think Leicester and Liverpool both score against Arsenal next week. So I'll go Kilman.
Yeah. I'll go Kilman for sure. Yeah, I brought him in and I'm waiting for him to pay me back. So this is his time.
Exactly that. Guys, in the chat, we are currently on 27 likes. If we get to 30, only 3 of you need to like it now. I'm going to show you that poster because you want to know what's on that poster. And it arrived the other day, and I'm super excited to show people this. Now, England fans might not like this poster, but it's going to take a very proud position behind me on the wall when I put
it. I'm starting to see what it is now.
So we're up to 28. Don't make me keep talking until we get to 30. Oh, we're up to 29. Keep going, guys. We want those likes. You wouldn't know that I used to work in shopping TV, would you? Good stuff, guys. I'm on a bit of a delay, so I've still not hit 30. We may have hit it, but I still need those likes coming in.
I think you can presume it has. Just show them.
Here we go.
I do not like this.
Oh, I'm chuffed to receive it.
I do not like this.
My wife was like, God, you put some trash on the wall, and that's really taking the biscuit. But...
yeah, look, I was at that game, and I remember that moment very, very clearly, and I'm not happy about it. Fair enough. We can have different views. For you, it was a game-changing moment.
Yeah, exactly. FPL River says Saka being tugged back, brilliant. Luke saying no, brilliant, guys. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Guys, we do want to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark in the not too distant. So please, as one parting gift, tweet about us, comment about us, but also make sure you're subscribing to the channel. But for now, guys, we'll see you at 7 p.m. UK time on Monday. He's been Dean, I've been Gianni, and we've been chasing green arrows.